here, and today I am bringing you my foundation routine. Now it's summertime, I have oily skin. I mean, I have oily skin in the winter, and in the summertime, if you have oily skin, you know it can sometimes get out of control. So we're dealing with heat, we're dealing with humidity, we're dealing with already oily skin, and you don't want to look like a cakey mess, you don't want to look like an oil slick. So what products are the best to use in the summertime? This thing gets real slick in the summertime, and we want to prevent that, obviously. So I'm going to kind of go through my foundation routine, what I use with each step, and kind of bring you some alternatives as well, because you know I don't use the same thing every single day. Like a lot of us, we have a few different foundations, concealers, powders, and I will kind of give you a few different options. So that is what we're doing today, and in just a second you're going to see my bare face and we will just get into it. So what I always have to start with is a mattifying primer, and the one that I have been using most often over the last year really is this Makeup Forever Step 1 Skin Equalizer. And this one can be very intense. So you really just keep it in the spots where you are the most oily. So for me, it's across my entire forehead, just my chin, my nose, and then right here where the majority of the pores on my cheeks are. So if I were to put this like over here, it would ball up during the day. It would wreck my foundation on top. Now another really good mattifying option is from Becca, and it is the Evermatte Poreless Priming Perfector. I think both of these can be ordered in travel size versions. This is the travel size, and like honestly, it's more than enough. This stuff goes a long way for both of them. This one isn't quite as intense, but it's up there. And next, just to get anywhere else on my face, you know, just to have longevity, I use the Smashbox Photo Finish Priming Water, and I will just spritz it about that many times, wave it dry. For foundation, this entire summer, I've been pretty much sticking to the same three. I've kind of experimented here and there, brought in a few, tested a few other ones, but for the most part, I've been using these three. Today, I'm gonna use this. This is the IT Cosmetics Your Skin But Better CC Cream. I love this in the summer because it feels lightweight, but it does have good coverage, and it has SPF 50 built into it. I also like this Guerlain Lingerie Depot BB Booster. This one has SPF 30. This one has a pump as well, which is kind of dirty right now. This one gives you a little bit more of a matte finish, whereas this one gives you a little bit more of a glowy finish. And then if I really need like intense matte coverage throughout the day, I go for the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte. This one really has like a nice matte velvety finish, and it lasts a really, really long time. The only thing with this one is it doesn't have the SPF in it, and in the summer, like I really, really want the SPF. I mean, I want it all year round, but I tend to go out more in the summer, obviously, like most of us. So that's why I like the SPF option. The only thing with this one here, the IT Cosmetics, is I have the shade medium, and really, even with a tan, it's still a little bit too intense for me. So even though for most foundations, I tend to prefer a brush to apply it with, for this one in particular, I am gonna use a beauty blender because I want it to be kind of sheared out a little bit more than it would be with a brush. And so that's what I'm gonna do. So with a beauty blender, the idea is you want to press and bounce it on your skin. That's going to give you that really nice airbrushed look, that airbrushed finish. It's going to obviously disperse the product, and it's not going to leave any streaks, because if you were to just wipe this with this sponge, it's going to lose the coverage, it's going to look streaky, it's just basically going to take it off your face. So just make sure you're going all over into the hairline, up to the ears, even on your ears a little bit. You want to match it well, and then of course underneath. And then some people bring it down their neck. I actually just bronze my neck, so ignore the color difference right now. I will bronze that to match it. But yeah, that's going to give you that nice airbrush finish with a beauty blender. So just remember those tricks. a lot of the time what I will do is I will use a foundation with a brush because it's faster. I just prefer it that way. And then I will bounce a beauty blender all over my face afterwards, like one time around, just to kind of give it that nice look, because the beauty blender is excellent for that. So not everybody needs this step, but I do absolutely need this step. I need to color correct my dark under eye circles. This is the Naked Skin color correcting fluid from Urban Decay, and it's in the shade Peach. It has a nice doe foot applicator. You don't need a ton of this. A lot of people will swipe it all over like it's concealer. Don't do that. Literally, I take the smallest bit. That's as much as I do on both sides. That might even be a little bit too much, to be honest. So then I take whatever concealer brush you want to use, but I use this one. I just did a whole video on all my favorite face brushes. I'll list these ones that I'm using below, but you can go watch that video if you want like an in-depth explanation as to why I use which brushes I use. But this is the Airbrush Concealer 57 from Sephora, and I just lightly wipe that into, I don't want to take it outside of the area of my dark eye circle, because that's just going to make your skin look orange in those areas. Remember, you are canceling out the darkness. So if you put it on a part of your face that is light, what you're going to get is just orange on your face. So you have to be really careful with the placement of this, and you do not want to ever go overboard on it. See the difference? Like, that's a huge difference, right? So same thing on this side. You do not need a brush. You can use your finger and just your ring finger tap it in. I just like the ease of use of this, but my pressure that I'm putting on this brush right now is feather light. You remember the under eye area is very, you know, it needs a gentle touch. It's thin skin there. You don't want to overdo it. You don't want to pull on your under eye, cause more fine lines. Anyway, there you go. See the difference? So now I'm going to use my concealer on top of it. So the one I've been loving recently, because it never creases on me, is the Double Wear Stay in Place Flawless from Estee Lauder. My shade is 1C Light. This is actually maybe a touch too light for me, but it's fine. I've just been going with it. So I'm going to just swipe once across, and then just a little bit. Some people go a lot. Because it's summertime, I don't want to overdo product. This might even be too much for some people. If it's too much for you and you don't necessarily want to highlight a lot under your eyes and all you really want to do is conceal, then only place it on the area you want to conceal. But I do like the highlighting look with this. Another concealer I really like, actually, this was my holy grail before that one, the Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer, and this is in the shade Light Neutral. This one, the Estee Lauder, is a little bit of a thicker consistency. This one is a little bit thinner. So in the summertime, if you're looking for a little bit lighter coverage, go with the Urban Decay. It still has a nice amount of coverage, like it'll cover up what you need to cover up. It's just with this one here, the Estee Lauder, on me, it really resists creasing really well. So if you don't have an issue with creasing, then you might want to go with something that is a little bit lighter in consistency, so that you, you know, it's nice in the summer just not to pile on too much product, right? For us oily skin people, you often, or I know I do anyway, get a lot of oiliness around here and of course on the nose. And so what I do with my under eye is I bake my under eye most of the time anyway. I just like the finish it gives me. It's just, I mean, a lot of the time I will set it. If I'm gonna just set it with one thin layer of powder, what I use is the highlighting shade in the Wet n Wild Mega Glow Contouring Palette, and my shade is Dulce de Leche. But today I'm going to bake, and that's just what I tend to do in the summertime, just because with the heat, I just really need that longevity. So I am using the NARS translucent crystal powder today. So what I'm doing is I'm taking my damp beauty blender after I've like blended out my concealer. I am dipping it directly into the powder. You can use any powder you want, but I find this one is really, really good. And then I am generously applying it under my eye, and I'm also taking it up the side of my nose as well, because in the summertime, we want our makeup to last and through the heat and humidity, a lot of the time it needs a lot of help. And especially if you are oily skin, I have just been taking this and also baking right here as well. Because the reason for that is once, look, I look like I just snorted a bunch of cocaine, like really. I put it right here because whenever I'm wearing sunglasses in the summer, I often find that it rubs off on the bridge of my nose and just between my eyebrows on my sunglasses. So I like to bake all over. It looks like I'm wearing like this, it looks ridiculous. Just ignore this and continue. A lot of people like to highlight the other parts of their face. If you want to do some highlighting up here or down your nose or on your chin, Cupid's bow, go for it. Again, in the summertime, I skip that step because I just want less product on my face. But when I do that, I will either take the concealer I'm wearing, or another good option is like the Dream Lumi pen. This is a highlighting concealer. It's more of a pink tone from the drugstore. So you can just put that wherever you want to highlight on your face. But I usually skip that step in the summertime. We're almost done. Very last step is just to set the rest of my face. And I have two things that I really like for that. Okay, this e.l.f. Perfect Finish HD powder, this is how much I love this. Like, see that? Yeah, I use this to death. This is excellent for oily skin. I cannot sing its praises enough, and it's so affordable. But this is fantastic. It will really keep you matte for a very long time. And for me, like, nothing will keep me matte for the entire day, but this will do it for a really long time. And what's really good about this powder is that when the oil does start to break through, I can actually reapply this powder without even blotting, and it won't cake. It really doesn't. It just kind of melds into your face. It's magical. Like, it doesn't give me cake face at all. So I love this for that. The other one I really like is the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in medium. And this one is just like a really nice, soft, thin layer of product that just sets your face nicely. Like, it's just kind of a no-brainer type of a product. This does have a little bit of coverage, just the tiniest amount of color. It's really not much at all. It's very light, even though it's called medium. Like, you can see it right there. Like, it's almost nothing, but it just does set your face nicely. So I'm just gonna set the rest of my face with this. It's just such a smooth powder that it really works with any kind of foundation. To do is, while this is baking, I like to just do my eyebrows. I don't tend to do my entire eye. I give this probably maximum like 5 to 8 minutes. A lot of people leave their baking on longer. You can leave it on as long as you want to, but I just tend to stick with like 5 or 8 minutes because I just don't like to spend that much time doing my makeup. I want it to be quick, so I usually do 5 to 8 minutes, and that is like more than enough for me, and it lasts all day. So I'm just gonna go do my eyebrows, and I will be right back. So you can just dust away your bake with a brush, and that'll be the end of it. Or what I do sometimes, what a lot of people do, is you can take like a really fine powder, put it on your brush, and then dust away like that. What that does is it kind of takes away the translucent powder and leaves kind of a nice, beautiful finish behind. This is the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder in Dim Light. There are many powders you can do this with, as long as it's kind of a fine powder that isn't like, that doesn't have a lot of coverage or color to it. That is really all you need to do that kind of technique. A nice smooth finish. It's going to last all day. It's not going to crease, and it's just really good for those really hot days. And if you get any powder in your hair, make sure you wipe that away too, because that's not a cute look. All my makeup is done now, as you can see, and the very last thing is setting spray. So setting spray is just really gonna help your makeup last throughout the day, but the thing that I love it for the best is that it kind of takes away all the powderiness from all the layers of powder that I know I have to use, being so oily skinned, and so many oily skinned people have to use. So, you know, you often have that like kind of dusty matte look to your face at the end of doing your makeup, and we don't like that. So we want to get that gone. So, you know, you might want to be matte, and these will keep you matte, but they just kind of meld everything together, if that makes sense. So, you know, it doesn't look like layers of makeup. It just looks like you have a pretty face of makeup. So what I am using today is the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Spray and Set Makeup Extender Setting Spray, longest name in the world. And the total dupe for this, these work exactly the same in my opinion, is the Urban Decay All Nighter Makeup Setting Spray. So whichever one you have, good, but if you don't have the Urban Decay, this is a more drugstore friendly, cheaper option, and just spray your face with it basically. Don't need too much. That's usually about enough, and again, I just like to dry my face with my hand. Okay guys, so that is it. That is my summertime foundation routine for my oily skin. I hope that you found this helpful. If you have oily skin, again, all the products are going to be listed in the description bar below. And I hope that I gave you a few options for alternatives, because really, I don't use the exact same combination of things every single day. I think like most of us, we have a few different options. So I wanted to give you some of those as well. And if you have any questions about that, leave them in the comments and I will get back to you. And other than that, I hope you are having a fantastic day. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and that is it for today. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Good afternoon. No. Hi guys. Away. A lot of people will just straight up dust it off with a plain brush. A lot of, 3, 2, 1. Many people will dust away their bake with some kind of brush. Others, and I hope it will be helpful. And 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Okay.